Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today, we're just going to rank all, Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to rank all 4 live-action Catwomans from Lee Merriweather to Zoe Kravitz. So, I don't think we got much to say. Go check out my Joker's ranking, my Batman movies ranked, and some of my other Batman rankings. And, yeah. So let's get started. Coming in number 4 is going to be Lee Merriweather from the 60s Batman movie. I mean, just like Cesar Romero, just like Burgess Meredith, and to an extent, just like Frank Gorshin, she comes in last place because it's just the 60s Batman. Not a fan. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. I mean, this movie's okay. I don't think it's like a bad movie or anything, but I think it's one of my least favorite Batman movies for sure. And the thing with it is that, like, you have this version of Catwoman, which I think she is probably the best villain of all of them. And I like her little plotline, or subplot with Miss Kicka, but she just doesn't do all that much. She doesn't have any of the Catwomanisms of, like, being an anti-hero, sort of. She's just sort of on the ride with these villains. And that's not a bad thing. It just makes for my least favorite Catwoman. Kind of by quite a bit, actually. I mean, she's not bad. She's just my least favorite. Coming in number 3 is going to be Anne Hathaway from The Dark Knight Rises. The thing is that I think if she was introduced a bit earlier in the franchise, or I feel like the problem is The Dark Knight Rises feels like 1.5 movies, where I feel like the one movie is sort of everything up until the Nightfall part, where Bane breaks Batman's back, and I think and then the second movie is the actual Dark Knight Rises, and then I think there should have been something in between that last bit and then the rest of it. I don't know. And the problem is, that Anne Hathaway's Catwoman feels a little bit underdeveloped. I think she does still do a pretty good job in the movie for what she's given, but the problem is she has this clean slate plot line which doesn't really make very much sense. But I think, and it just is like, it's a little odd for what they're trying to communicate here with this Catwoman, and the fact that, and then the whole thing with Bruce, about her being Bruce Wayne's happy ending, doesn't really work. And I think the thing is that her in need of stealing some of the stuff, I think that part of it is interesting, but the reason that she's doing it is just very lazy and very underdeveloped. And then there's this whole subplot where Bruce Wayne went off with Miranda Tate, and then so that means this just kind of is left just alone, and then there's not much developed between Catwoman and Bruce Wayne. So there's a lot of lazy stuff, but overall, I do think she does a pretty good job overall. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Zoe Kravitz from The Batman. I'm excited to see what else they do with this Catwoman. I think she did a pretty great job for the most part. I like her plotline involving on this character of this mysterious character, well, not really mysterious, but this minor character in the movie of her, this friend of hers, and I think the reason why she's doing this is much more clear, and it's kind of similar to what they were doing with Anne Hathaway, but I think over everything is much more clear here, and that she's trying to protect her friend. Not a very villainous Catwoman at all, and I don't think she's really supposed to, well, she's not supposed to be, and I think that's okay, and I think as a kind of dynamic duo between her and Batman, I think all of that really works, and I think her subplot involving Falcone works pretty nicely, and I think overall she ties into the movie much more than I thought she would have. And I think her little mini subplots I think all work pretty well. And overall, I really like this version of Catwoman. My only problem is that I feel like I just wanted a little bit more from her in the movie, and I think that's just my only issue. She wasn't really villainous enough. I feel like if we had her do a little bit more villainous things. Sure, she did break into a building to steal some stuff. Sure, she was threatening to kill a man, but I don't think any of those are, I wouldn't even really call those villainous. So, I mean, she's a pretty, I still think she's good in the role. I actually think she's pretty great in the role. She works really nicely as Catwoman. And I feel like she feels the most comic book accurate of all of them. And I think she comes in number 2. I don't think she's number 1 because I don't think it's as iconic of a performance. And coming in number 1 is obviously Michelle Pfeiffer at this point. I think you could probably guess that right from the beginning. I think she's easily my favorite Catwoman. She does a fantastic job from all of her catisms about bringing back to life her cats. And I think her little sequence where Max Schreck pushes her off the building and then she turns into the Catwoman, I think all of that all those elements really work. She's my maybe my second favorite of all the older Batman villains, and I think she really works on the role. Great little duo between her and Batman. I think all those elements together works. She doesn't. I don't think she has much. I wish she had a little bit more of a relationship with Bruce Wayne, and I think her ties are mostly to Max Shrek of all things. But I don't really have any problems other than that. Like, I think the suit looks pretty great. I think some of the whip crack stuff all is pretty good. And overall, I think it really works as a Catwoman. I think even though it's very Tim Burtonized and not very comic book accurate, I still think she does a great job in the role. And I think Michelle Pfeiffer's performance is really what enhances this role, because it could have been very bland and dull, but I think she brings so much life to this role. And I think that's why I put Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman at number 1. Tell me what your ranking is in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.